Good morning. Uh, Welcome to Daily Devotions on this November 17th, Tuesday. Glad you can be with me. So, we're going to keep exploring today the text from Matthew chapter 25, the parable of the talents. And I'm not going to read all of it today. Hopefully, you remember the story if you've been following along. The master calls his slaves and gives each of them talents or his property or his treasure. He gives one five, one 2 talents, and another one. So I'm just going to read the first part because I want to talk about a word that's in the text that I find really interesting. Matthew 25, verse 14. For it is as if a man going on a journey summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. It's that word ability that I think is really interesting. And so I looked it up and did a little bit of study with it. And this is my analytical lexicon of the Greek New Testament. So this has every word that is in the New Testament in Greek and how it's parsed out and what it means. But the base meaning of that word ability in this text is power, might, strength. So, and the words dunamis. So each according to his power, might, strength. It's the opposite of weakness. It's also as a capacity for something, ability, capability. So it is about ability or capability. And what I talked about on Sunday, if you remember a little bit, I mentioned that we often hear this story and we see to each according to his ability. We hear that and we connect it to the word talent, and it sounds like it's a skill or something that we're able to do. And that's not actually how the word functions when it says each according to his ability. It's what it says. It's capacity or capability, and how that's not necessarily a specific skill or gift that these guys have as much as just what they're capable of with what the master says. And I don't think it's a semantic difference. I think it's a legitimate thing to think about that and try to remove it away from particular skills that we have or things that we might be good at, and start to think about it maybe in a more general sense that what we're just capable of accomplishing in the world, and then to look at it from God's perspective. And God looks at each of us and says, you're capable, you have a capacity to use what I've given you in the world to my treasure. And what I also thought was interesting, so just think about that with me for a minute. Um, Power. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his power, his strength, his capability, his capacity. And so God's acknowledging who these people are and giving them um, everything that they're capable of utilizing and holding on to and sharing. This word pops up in another place in the New Testament, and it's in Second Corinthians. And I wanted to read that selection to you so that you can see how Paul takes that word, the Apostle Paul, how he takes that word and uses it in another context or in another way. So, and I'm gonna read that and let you think about how Paul uses this word again, power, and what it is. And I'll point it out when we get there. It's in Second Corinthians chapter 8. It's verse 3, and it goes like this: For as I can testify, they voluntarily gave according to their means and even beyond their means. So I'll read it with the Greek word inserted. For as I can testify, they voluntarily gave according to their dunamis and even beyond their dunamis. They gave according to their power, strength, and even beyond their power and strength. For as I can testify, they voluntarily gave according to, and then we say their capability or their ability, and even beyond their capability and ability. Hmm. So, what's your capability? What's your ability today? And where I think the answer is found is in relationship to the world around you. And see, that's the trick of this text, I think, is that it's talking about who we are, but it's talking about who we are in relationship to the world and what God's given us for whatever's around us to bless, enhance, influence, and vice versa. The world is supposed to be doing that back to us. And so Christian community draws us together to affect each other with our abilities and then to go out and look at the world and then turn outward in that way. And so I invite you to think about that today. What's your power? What's your ability? Where God's placed you in this world to utilize um, treasure. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit about treasure and some ways that might be playing into this text and into our lives. But for now, for today, think about your power, or maybe you're feeling powerless and weak, or whatever you're feeling today. And then you have to hear that text that designation as powerful and capable and able actually comes from Jesus, not from them. And so he gives them that. He trusts them and calls them good and loves them. He summons his slave and entrusted his property to them. So he's the one that says that to them, and he's the one that says that to you today, that you're powerful, that you're loved, and that you can do something in this world for God, big or small. God can work through you. I hope you're feeling God's love and presence today. If you're not, hear this, that you are loved. Have a blessed day.